Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
U.S. President Donald Trump delivered a direct and confrontational message about Canada during his speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Trump stated that Canada lives because of the United States and called out Prime Minister Mark Carney by name. The statement came one day after Carney delivered a speech warning that the rules-based international order has ended and that middle powers must build coalitions to resist economic coercion.
Going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
Trump told the audience that Canada gets a lot of freebies from the United States and should be grateful. He said he watched Prime Minister Carney's speech on Tuesday and that Carney was not grateful enough. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements, Trump stated. The two leaders did not meet on the sidelines of the summit. Carney left Davos for Zurich at approximately 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, about the same time Trump arrived. Trump's comments came in the context of his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system. Trump said the dome would protect Canada due to geography. He stated that Canada is not grateful enough that such a system is in the works. Carney has been non-committal in the past about Canada participating in or paying for the system. Trump's remarks were delivered to the packed hall at the World Economic Forum and marked a direct confrontation with Canada's leader. One day earlier, Carney had delivered what observers are calling a historic address at Davos. Carney declared that the world is in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. He stated that the old order is not coming back and that nostalgia is not a strategy. Without naming Trump directly, Carney referenced American hegemony and warned that great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons and tariffs as leverage and financial infrastructure as coercion and supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. Carney said that middle powers must act together because if they are not at the table, they are on the menu. He emphasized that countries such as Canada must not accept subordination and instead have to push back against economic intimidation. Carney called on medium-sized countries to stand up to larger powers. He told the Davos audience that Canadians know their old and comfortable assumption that geography and alliance memberships automatically conferred prosperity and security is no longer valid. Carney also used his speech to state what many see as the quiet part out loud. He said that the ideas behind the Western-dominated world were often a useful fiction. The US and its allies have often applied a selective version of these rules, exempting themselves when convenient. Carney urged countries to start publicly condemning economic coercion, even when practiced by an ally, in another clear reference to the United States. Trump's response suggests a sharp escalation in rhetoric between the two countries. The statement that Canada lives because of the United States directly challenges Canadian sovereignty. The US-Canada relationship has historically been one of the closest partnerships in the world, built on trade and defense cooperation and shared borders. Trump's wording signals a shift toward hardline nationalism and dominance messaging. Before leaving Davos, Carney met with Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO. The Prime Minister's office said the two reaffirmed their mutual commitment to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Denmark, including Greenland. They spoke about a need to reinforce security in the Arctic. The statement said they discussed ongoing peace talks on Ukraine and support for advancing Ukraine's peace and security. Carney is getting ready for a cabinet retreat in Quebec City, rather than remaining at the World Economic Forum. Parliament is resuming on Monday. International Trade Minister Maninder Sidhu defended the Canadian delegation's decision to head home without any plans to meet Trump. After resetting damaged relations with China last week, Carney is headed to India to repair ties that ruptured in 2023. Sidhu said negotiations for a trade deal with India will launch in February. India's year-over-year growth is about 7%, so they need food and energy. We have that, Sidhu stated. When asked about the Americans, Sidhu said they will always remain important to Canada because geography is not going to change. But you look at who else we want to deal with. China is our second largest trading partner. India is going to be the third largest economy, he said. Asked why Canada is warming up to India despite alleged wrongdoings, Sidhu repeated Carney's recent rationale, saying, "The Prime Minister has been clear. We want to see the world as it is, not as we wish it to be." At the end of the day, we need to find opportunities for Canadians. This statement reflects Canada's pivot toward diversifying economic partnerships beyond traditional reliance on the United States. Trump also addressed Greenland during his speech. He reiterated his demand that Denmark allow the US to annex Greenland against the wishes of the semi-autonomous Arctic territory's inhabitants. Trump said one reason he wants Greenland is to build his proposed Golden Dome missile defense system. For the first time, Trump said he would not use military force to seize the island. He said he was seeking immediate negotiations to purchase Greenland and called it a very small ask for a piece of ice. The exchange between Trump and Carney represents a dramatic shift in the US-Canada relationship. Carney's speech at Davos received a standing ovation and was described by some analysts as the most consequential address by a Canadian prime minister in decades. Trump's response suggests he viewed Carney's speech as ungrateful and as a challenge to US authority.